sweeter. Sweeter. 하루 끝에 남은 맛 널 생각하면 사라져. 말없이 전해지던 너 그 조용함이 나에겐 가장 듣기 좋은 노래.
We'll be creating 2 separate designs or projects. The first one in 16 to 9 format, standard video. I'm using height 2700 by width 4800. This is the main file. The second one is for the member photos. Now under file, let's create the second one. Depending on your member count, you'll have to do a little math. For chromalize, I'll be dividing the width by 6, giving me 800. And for the height, I'm doing a little less than half with 1200. And I'm not gonna lie, I have no clue what the resolution actually means. I always just do 1000 or 2000. I'm pretty sure it's for using inches formatting instead of pixels though. Now, on this CD, I'm adding a member's photo. Fit it to the design. Make sure it reaches the corners. Now select the frame tool, or press K. Going from the top corner, hold down and scroll to select the full layer. I made this look so difficult, so here's a different clip. Now we have our frame. Click on it in the layers panel and copy it. The regular command or Control plus C. Going back to the main file, paste all the frames and line them up at the top. Click on a frame and drag an image to its spot. I couldn't figure out who went where. But you should have a set place and color for each member, so you can reuse the overlays for the group. You can touch up the image, however, in the frame. Cropping and adjusting the image is easier when they're all side by side. Repeat for each member, then when you're done, export the image. File, export, export as PG. Also, save your design so that you won't lose any progress. Now we're moving on to the overlays. Make sure to label here. It gets messy quick. Press M for the marquee tool and hold down to make a bar at the bottom of the images. Now select this little paint bucket icon and fill a color. Using marquee tool again, but a bigger box. Under the Layers tab, select this icon, then Gradient. -90 for the angle. You don't need to change the color. We'll do all of that later. Moving the gradient fill down a little bit, and moving the layer under the bar layer. Add a layer, select it, then shift and select the gradient, fill, and press Command or Ctrl plus E to merge them. Copy the layer and move it to the bottom. At the top, change the angle to -180. Just making sure it's at the bottom. Now let's add the members' names. Press T to make a text box. I'm going to add all the effects to this first one. Get the style down before doing the other members. Of course, personalize it to your liking. And don't forget to save your progress. I'm adding a stroke and drop shadow. Pretty standard for color-coded lyric style. This is a great time to just mess around and see what you like. Once you have the style you're happy with, center it with the frame. Then copy and paste it to all the other frames. These little buttons up here can help you align them. Once you're done, change the names and colors. Now, we're gonna make a gradient for the bar. Click on the layer and add a gradient overlay. Then open the editor and on the bottom, click to add colors. I'm doing all 6 colors and spacing them out evenly. Click on each one and then press color at the bottom. You can hover over the members' names to select. Move the editor around if you need to. Now we can move the editor back into view and change the angle to 0. Adjust the scale. It should match up pretty closely with the members' photos. Once you have the gradient perfect, click Make Default or New Style to save it. We're going to add the same gradient overlay to the top and bottom gradient fills. If you press Make Default, you can just press Reset to Default to apply the same gradient. Save your design. We're almost done. Next, hide all of the images by pressing the eye icon on each layer. Now let's add a text box with your channel name optional. Again, adjust it to your liking. I like to space out mine, just doubling up the top gradient so it's more prominent. Now unhide your first member image. We're going to make a sort of box that highlights the photo. Add a new layer and press M for the marquee tool. Make a thin box along the frame, down to the bar, and fill any color. Now copy-paste that layer and line it up with the other side. It shouldn't be centered with the image or text yet, but lined up with the canvas. Copy-paste again. This time change the angle to 90 and line it up at the top. Now we're gonna merge the 3 layers. Shift to select, Command or Ctrl+E to merge. I forgot to do it when recording this, but you can add a little bumped off box at the bottom of the bar to make it pop more. Now marquee tool and select the image and press the mask button. Name the layer. You'll be happy you did later. Again, with the marquee tool, we're going to make a gradient fill inside of the box on a new layer. Keep the original settings and add a color overlay so it'll be easier to change colors. Remember to merge the gradient fill with a new layer to apply effects. Or you can merge the new gradient fill with the outline, so you can change the color at once. It's up to you. There's a lot of fun things you can do with this basic design. Add onto it and make it your own. Add a color overlay to the other gradients and the bar, matching the member shade. You can center the gradient overlay and outline with the frame now. A bit gets cut off with end frames. Now hide the member photo and export as PG. Save it as the member name in a designated folder. For the rest of the members, all you have to do now is move the outline and change the colors. Unhiding the frame to make sure it lines up properly with the photo. Export for all members and save your progress. Now it's time to make the thumbnail, which is fairly simple. I'm deleting everything and adding the first image we saved, and the group overlay. Now add a text box by pressing T. Design away on the title. This can be anything, really. Make yours prettier than mine. Since this is only for the video, my actual overlays and thumbnail look different. It's in the original theme of my culls. Placing it a little higher than the center. Now we're just adding a text box on the bottom that says, Chromalize color-coded lyrics, and adding some effects to the title. It's giving daycare. Export your image and make sure to save as a separate design. Don't save over your prior one. Before we move on past Photoshop, make sure you have all of these saved: the thumbnail, the group photo, the group overlay, and an overlay for each member. Now we can move on to the lyrics and line distribution. Grab your lyrics and paste them onto a Google Doc. Copy the first line, then create a new doc and paste it there. Now, paste that same line into Papago or whatever translator you're using. Copy the romanization, then paste it onto the second doc. Go back to Papago and copy the translation. Repeat this for every line. Once you're finished, you can either color code them here first, or do it in CapCut like I normally do. You should check the lyrics before you start. Listen to the track a few times on loop. If you can't read Korean, having the romanization here would be helpful. To check for any errors, especially for AI songs. I personally tend to miss lyrical errors while editing the video, since it's mostly just copying and pasting. Upload the folder with all your CCL content and the audio file of your song. Drag the group photo and audio file to the track. the group photo reaching full length of the audio, then doubling it up. You can't hear mine, but I'm listening for when the first member starts singing, then pressing Command+B to split the material. On the top track, I'm making the first section transparent under the blend mode. Scroll down on the right. Now drag the thumbnail onto the bottom first section. It occupies the second that's just instrumental. Listen for the members' start and finish of their lines. Then Command+B to split the top track only. Now, select the bottom track and go to Adjust on the top right side. Scroll down to Saturation and turn it all the way down. Add the members overlay to the track and line it up with the splitted image. Now select the top group image. Under Video, select Mask and add a rectangle. Adjust the mask side with the white bars. Move it over to the member's photo. Of course, make sure it lines up properly. Now let's add the text. Drag a default text to the track. Using the dropper tool, select each member color and add it to your colors, with the little plus sign next to the color catalog. Adding the first line to make sure the Korean font is sized properly. Paste it into the text section and begin to adjust your font and sizing. I'm adding a shadow to mine to make it easier to read, since they're all lighter colors. Copy and paste to more lines. These are our lyrics, original or Korean on top, Romanization in the middle and English on bottom. Now listen to the track. Break up the text based on lines, where the lyrics will change. It is easy to almost rush through it, but I'd recommend taking your time, making it as smooth and accurate as possible. When we get to a new member, move the mask, replace the overlay and update text color. Once we have all members with a line, you can just copy-paste the text, overlay, and mask by member. It's much quicker. I always distribute the lines before adding the lyrics. Once you finish, in a half window, use the lyrics from the Google Doc. As I've said, this is mostly copy and pasting. Making these videos is a bit time-consuming, but it's not hard at all. Always double, triple check everything. Maybe come back a day after to check again. It gets pretty mind-numbing, especially if you're doing multiple songs at a time. For the Photoshop design and CapCut video, you can use them both as templates for future videos. Make a copy of both of them, and editing color-coded lyrics will be a breeze. I hope this explains everything, but if I missed something, don't be afraid to ask any questions. You can check out Chromalize's new songs, Steady and Like It on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, etc. This song playing is from their first full album and will be released this July.